guys, what's up? I am finally doing an update to my worship template, letting you guys know what I'm doing these days. And if you've watched my old one, which is really old at this point, man, I have no idea what firmware that was on. But I remember what I was using, and you can see the layouts, pretty different. Some more stuff going on. So let's get into it, and I'll tell you what I'm doing these days. I'm playing my Sir Classic Pro, all stock for the video, and I will, bang through the different pickup positions so you can hear the tone we're getting. Let's start off, first of all, what you'll see here is I've got a dual amp thing going on. I used to run, if you watched before, I'm a matchless DC30 guy. It's my favorite amp in the Axe. It's my favorite amp in real life. There's actually one sitting behind me right now. I've been using the DC30 pretty much for the entirety of the time I've had the Axe effects. Even doing country gigs in Nashville, this was my go-to amp. But the one thing that drives me crazy about the one in the Fractal is that only the 12AX7 channel is there. And if you've ever played a real DC30, you know the magic is in the EF86 channel. And the real magic is when you can jumper the two together and blend them, which is what I like to do. I usually plug into the low input EF86, jumper the high input of the EF86, the low input of the 12AX7, and then blend those two channels. Well, I've just been running the DC30 by itself forever, but I decided to experiment and run the Morgan AC20 EF86 treble with it to try and approximate that. I don't know that it really does, and I don't know that it makes a huge difference, but I've been doing it for, I don't know, a month or two, and I like it, so maybe it's placebo, maybe it's not, but that's what I'm doing. Real quick, the controls are pretty much straight up, no high cut, master volume wide open, input drop pretty low, and then on the AC20 side, same thing, controls pretty much straight up, no high cut, input drop low, master wide open. And I don't know, again, if you've followed me at all, I like dynamic cleans. That's what I call it. I don't know if that's a real term, but that's what I say. I like cleans that give you a little grit, a little hair when you hit them hard, or when you're in like a bridge position on a humbucker, but then can clean up really well with the volume control or a volume pedal, or you're playing dynamics. And I think you'll hear that this does that really well. And before I start playing, I'll tell you the cab I'm using right now is from a new pack from Kevin at Ownhammer. It's the 6-pack of the Vox 212. And he's taken the Vox 212 and loaded it with 6 different speakers and different combinations of those speakers. So you can get like just the blue or just the gold and maybe a greenback mixed with something, or it's pretty cool. And check it out on his site, ownhammer.com. But this is the first library I've ever really liked the blue by itself. I'm never a big fan of blues. I much prefer silvers or golds, or those mixed with some kind of greenback or V30. But I really do like the blue from this cab pack, so it's what I'm using. And again, this is subject to change because I do like to experiment with my cabs, but I dig this one. I'm using the OH1 mix, and I'm using mic position 3, which is just a little off center of the cap. A little bit of dephase, high cut at 100. Man, if it was at 1,000, that would sound terrible. High cut at 100. My gosh, it's late, guys. Low cut at 100, high cut at 6,000, and a 12 dB filter slope. So let's hear what this sounds like just by itself. So bridge position of the Sir. I'll just play some, big open chords so you can hear it. Okay, that's the bridge. Here's the second position. Middle position. Fourth position, middle and neck. And finally the neck position. Okay, going back to the bridge, you can hear when I hit it pretty hard. It can get a little hairy, but again, I'll lighten up the dynamics. Cleans up pretty well. Still got a little hair there. But then if I move it to one of the out of phase positions, you know, it cleans up really nice. But again, I'll move it up a little bit, and then if you dig into it a little bit, you kind of get that I don't know, that little push, that little sag when you're hitting an amp really hard. So I dig it. Now I have both of these amps set to mute on the bypass mode. So when I bypass one, it'll mute it totally. So I'll let you hear the two amps separately. Now I don't know if you're going to get the effect because they're going to be quite a bit quieter than the two together. But I may try to go in and post and bump the dB up a little bit so you can hear the differences. But here goes the DC30 by itself. And then here is the Morgan AC20 by itself. So to my ears, I mean, obviously the AC20 is a little dirtier, but I think it's a little more mid-forward, where the 12AX7 side of the DC30 can sound a little scooped. So I don't know. I just think it balances it out. Again, maybe total placebo and it sounds no different, but that's what I'm doing. So we'll get into the rest of the effects here. The volume is pretty self-explanatory. Volume block hooked to an external controller for, you know, swells. Can't worship Jesus if you don't do swells. Second block is a wah pedal, also hooked to an external. I never use this in in church, but it's there in case I just want to. Or if maybe we're doing a bumper song that has some funk in it, I can throw it on there if I need it. This comp block, I was using this for a while. Ever since they added the optical compressor type to the Axe, I've been using this to try and approximate like a Diamond comp, which is my favorite analog compressor from back in the day. And I really liked it at first, but I don't know what happened. I don't know if it was the updates or what, but I liked it less and less. Didn't like how it was interacting with my drives and stuff. So this past weekend, I disabled it in all of my presets for the weekend, and I really liked it. And our front of house guy said, it was probably the best he's heard my tone. So I don't know if it was compressor or if it was the new cab I'm using or what. I also changed my drive section, so who knows? But I don't know. I just like it better without it. But you can see it's a very low compression and level, so it's really just a little bit more of everything, which is what the Diamond always was to me. But again, I'm leaning toward getting rid of it. But it's there if you want to play around. Moving on to my first drive block. First is always the STD preamp. Ever since this was added, it was my favorite drive. It's just a little more of everything and helps you cut a little bit more. It's really transparent to me. And I don't have it set up to add a lot of drive, but you'll hear it does add some. I'll play the same G, DC chords without. Okay, with. And what I love about this pedal is it's so versatile. Obviously it gives you a little more grit. And even like when you're playing softly, it'll help your softly picked parts stand out a little more in the mix. But it's also really good, again, going up to those like bluesy licks to help them stand out, or any single note licks. But I don't know. It's a great tone, man. I love it. And I wish the playing was better, but the tone is good. But I love it. It's my first stage. It stacks well. It's just one of my favorite drives in the Axe. Moving on to the second stage. Now this is interesting because I use the exotic AC booster, or the AC preamp, the AC booster, yeah. And this spot for years. It was one of my favorite analog pedals. But again, I don't know if it was the updates that changed or what. Not with the pedal, but like with the amp modeling updates. If it just started interacting differently with the amp models. But I don't know. I just kind of like went cold on it, I guess. And so I was using the Shimmer drive for a while, which sounds great. It's a great drive. It's a FAS original. But with what I'm using for my third stage, the Shimmer and it were too similar. So I tried a Tim this weekend, and I really liked it. I don't know if I really have it EQ'd where I want it yet, but it compresses a little differently and gives me a different flavor, and I liked it. So here it is without, same 3 boring chords. With yeah, I don't know. It doesn't really feel like there's that much more drive than the STD, but it just feels different, compresses different. So that's what I'm doing. And as you can see here, drive 3.5, tone at 7, low cut at 100. And if you know anything about the controls on the Tim, you'll understand what these do. If not, go to the wiki and read about it. The tone control works kind of counterintuitive than how you would think. And I can't remember what control this is on the Tim, what the name of it is. But this is something you do have to tweak to get the real world controls of the pedal. So that's first and second stage, and then on to third stage. Again, it's the FAS boost, tone straight up, drive straight up, level where it sounds like it's just, you know, right above the clean tone, or in my case, cleanish tone. And here it is without, with, so yeah, I think that's a great sounding drive. It's probably a little much on the gain side right now, but you know, whatever. Who doesn't like gain? And then on the Y side is the ever faithful Ruckus, which I never use, but it's there if I just need some high gain fun. Drives at 7, tones at 8 because it's a pretty dark pedal, and levels at 4. And it sounds like this. Yeah, that's fun. Who doesn't like doing that stuff? So that's the Ruckus, and that's the, you know, that's it, man. I mean, here, I'll let you hear how the STD stacks into the FAS. So here's just the FAS. Here's the STD. Again, a lot of gain, probably more than I ever use in church, but it's fun to have it. And then just for fun, the Tim into the FAS. So yeah, that gets kind of gnarly. There's this. I don't know. It's pretty cool. So that's my drive section, and as we move on to the delays and reverbs, I'm going to turn the STD back on. It sounds better. If there's a such thing as an always-on drive in the Axe, the STD is it for me. Okay, moving on to my delays. Again, let's see, I'm at 75 BPM, so I'll put this at 8. I'm sorry, at an 8th note. And just, you know, I'll just do some sustained, it's late, guys. Some sustained chords, just so you can hear the modulation on the repeats. So, hey, what if I turn the delay on? That would be cool. All right, here we go. So you can hear the mod is pretty pronounced, but I like it, and there it is. That's the eighth note. Here's a dotted eighth. It's going to sound exactly the same, but so you get it. I mean, I love the Memory Man just because the repeats, they're there and you can use it. I mean, I have the mix at almost even right now. Let me bump up the feedback a little bit so you can hear it. But they're there, but they get out of the way really quick, so it doesn't sound cluttered. I mean, if you're playing something busy, it will, but I mean, yeah, I just love it now. I'll start them together. So, I mean, yeah, I love that delay tone. Now, if you're wanting, I mean, obviously you can do like, let me back this feedback back down a little bit. So, if you put the tempo up, let me see. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. So, if you get there and you want to do that, sorry for that note. I mean, you don't really do that anymore. It's 2018. Nobody really plays those lines. But if you need the really ping-pongy edge dotted A thing, you can do it with that. But I mean, it's not really ideal. If you wanted that tone, you would go to like a digital, where the repeat's really crisp and really in your face. So yeah, and I morphed between key of D and the key of A. So if you heard that crappy note, good on you. So yeah, but I mean, again, you don't get to do that very much anymore. So, but it's there if you need it. And yeah, this is just I just love the way this delay sounds. And take it back down to like 72, and increase feedback, and play some old school United. I just love that tone. So that's my delay. It's the manga always. And they all sound great. I mean, don't get me wrong. Well, maybe not all of them, but the tape delays are great. The BBDs are really good. I mean, it's just personal preference, but that's just how I like to run it. And again, the mod on both delays, 3.5 hertz rate, triangle is the wave type, and the depth is about 40%. So, moving on to reverbs. Right now, it's I've been using a medium plate lately for most of my, up tempo songs. So it's just a little space there. Without. Now, one thing you have to watch with reverb is the reflections can trick you into thinking your tone is a little brighter than it is, or it will make your tone brighter than you intend. Because even right there, to me, it sounds brighter with the verb. Obviously, because you're getting, the reverb, the reflection, the EQ of the reflection back. Now you can, go in and make it super dark if you want to. Let's see. Let's just play around for a minute. You guys are watching this, so. Now see, even there, that's a huge difference to me. Just taking the high cut from 8,000 to 4,000. And it also helps get the reverb out of the way a little bit. So that's one of the great things about the, the Fractal stuff is there's so much control. Now it can be a rabbit hole, obviously, but there's a million ways to accomplish something. So, let's take this back to the default 8,000, not 89,000. My God, 8,000, right? Now, you may be thinking, man, that's, kind of in my face, and you keep taking it down. But now it's like barely there, and you want more reverb, but it's a little too bright. So you can keep trying, different reverb types till you find what you like, or just start playing with the EQ, see what happens. So, or I can blow your ears off because I put it at plus 12 dB than minus 12. You're welcome. Hope that woke you up. Here we go. And I mean, I think that just made a huge difference right there. I may leave it like that. Heck, I like the way it sounds. Now on some songs I may change to a room or something that needs be a little bit bigger, but most of the time I'm staying, on that plate. Now going over to my Y block is it's my ambient reverb, and it's almost always a deep space with the mod cranked, let's say 60%. Here, I'll leave it at 24 so you can hear what it sounds like. So this is it with the mod at its normal spot. Let me turn this STD off. It's getting in the way a little bit for this. So again, I love that reverb. It's beautiful. And I mean, this is what I really use 99% of the time to kind of get the Strymon type stuff. I think if you play with the controls, you can get. I'm not going to say it sounds like the Choral engine or the Cloud engine or whatever, but man, I think you can get pretty close. Now, if I really need that tone, I'll build out the signal path where there's multi delay into chorus, reverb, whatever it takes. But I mean, most of the time, I don't really feel like it's necessary, especially if you go in and start messing around in the advanced settings. Now, what I usually do is crank this mod depth to like 60. So here, let me take it back really quick to 24 so you can hear it. Cool. Let me put it 60 inch. So even there, you really hear the modulation in the clay. Guys, it's 2 in the morning, and the decay. So yeah, I mean, I think that, you add in a little bit of delay, and sorry, I got caught up playing it. But yeah, I mean, I just think that's a gorgeous reverb. So that's usually, and again, just, so I can be thorough, I will use the North Church sometimes if it needs to be not quite so crazy. That's obviously a big reverb, but it's not as soupy or as dense as the deep space is. So those are my two favorite big reverbs. And finally, moving on here to my shimmer path. So what I've got going on here is just it's a fixed harmony pitch block with a voice an octave up and then 2 octaves up, a little detune on each one, nothing crazy, no delay. Voice 1 at 75%, voice 2 at 50, and then the whole thing at -4 dB. And then what I have this going into is a detune block from the multi-delay, and really low level on this, -20 dB. And I also took a lot of the high end out. And this is set to mute in, so this controls this. I don't have to have 2 foot switches. When this is off, you don't get this signal path at all. When I turn this on, then you get both. And what this detune block is, it diffuses and kind of slows the attack of the pitch block coming into it. So here you can just hear it. So and here that's dry. Here it is with the shimmer in. So yeah, you get the idea. I mean, it's there, you can hear the shimmer, but it's not super in your face. I don't like really in your face, bright, synthetic sounding shimmer. I like it to be there but not be there, and I feel like, I can't remember if I found this on the forum and somebody else's preset or if I came up with it. I'm not claiming credit, but I could have. But I just like the way this brings the shimmer in. I've experimented with putting a volume block in tied to an envelope and fading it in even more. But to be honest, I just really like the way this sounds. And again, if I like even, let me take this level up a little bit. So -10, not -80. If I could type, -10. So it's going to be a lot more prominent, obviously. But even there, it's super in your face, but it's not super in your face. I like how it controls the shimmer. I hate when people like say it's shimmer and it's the crystals where it's the really bright piercing octaves fading in. That's not shimmer to me. I like this. It's a lot more subtle, a lot more ethereal. And again, I mean, if you put this with a deep space, it can get pretty crazy pretty fast. Oh wait, I forgot to change the type. Okay, let's try this again. Deep space, where are you? Deep space, let's crank the model. Let's just get stupid with this thing. See what we can make happen. And I will do this sometimes when I have a big reverb like this. I think I did this in my last video. I'll cut a lot of the low end out. I feel like it can help to keep it from rumbling too much. So, shimmer path into deep space reverb with a lot of modulation. Let's see what we got. that's with no delay. I mean, obviously, I'm sorry, and delay and stuff. But that's about it, guys. That's what I'm doing these days. I guess the only thing I didn't talk about was the filter block at the end. That's just a simple null filter. A simple null filter with a 3.5 dB boost. That's something I go back and forth on as well. How much boost I need. Some weekends 3.5 feels good. Sometimes it feels like too little. I'll bump it up, and then that'll feel like too much. But this is where I always seem to land as a mean. So yeah, that's it, guys. Let me know what you think. I'll upload the template. Of course, you'll have to put another cab in there, but I'll upload the template when I do the video. Forgive me for the mistakes, and again, I was just doing this quick and dirty in one take. It's 2:30 in the morning here now, so tired, sleepy, so I fumbled over my words, played some bad notes, but you get the idea. So hope this helps you guys, hope it blesses you. Have a great day, and I'll see you soon. Later.